On this episode of the Comic Blast podcast, we talk all about the second and third episode of The Mandalorian. Holy cow, that third episode of The Mandalorian. We can't wait to get into it with you guys. We're also going to talk a little bit about Jedi Fallen Order, give some of our non-spoiler thoughts. All of that coming up next.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Consider this mercy. I am inevitable.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Comic Blast podcast. My name is Keenan. Joining me is my co-host Grayson. What's going on?
Hello.
Are you excited as I am about Star Wars right now?
Yeah, dude. Like, freaking Star Wars high. It's like, oh man, it's so nice.
Yeah, it sucks for our listeners out there who aren't like huge Star Wars fans. I apologize, but we're really in Star Wars season right now. There's so much going on regarding Star Wars, and we're really excited about it because it's been a while since we've been able to kind of immerse ourselves in the Star Wars universe.
Let me give you some setup here. So like I'm reading a Star Wars adaptation of a book. It's like a manga comic of Lost Stars. So I'm reading that. The Mandalorian is going on. I'm still in the middle of playing Jedi Fallen Order, and my buddy and I are writing for our own kind of like personal Star Wars book per se, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so like it's interesting because we get to go like back and forth between our perspectives and stuff, but like getting to just be able to like freely write and like come up with cool stories and like arcs and everything with a group of people is really fun. So I have like 4 different Star Wars things going on. So I want to restart Rebels soon, or maybe even Clone Wars first and then Rebels maybe after. I almost want to do Clone Wars before season 7, like rewatch it completely again, and then when season 7 ends in February, then go to Rebels, because obviously with chronologically and all that stuff, it makes more sense. But so yeah, very important time for Star Wars fans. And then we still have the Rise of Skywalker very soon. Like, let's see, less than a month. It's
blows my mind.
Dude, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there where you are. Just obviously keeping up with The Mandalorian, which has been great. We're going to get into later in this episode. And then I beat Jedi Fallen Order. I basically spent my whole weekend playing that last weekend. And and now I'm on my Clone Wars watch.
Yes.
I think I'm about 10 episodes into that right now. And for some reason, the past 2 nights, I've rewatched Rogue One over and over.
So that's weird. It was really funny because I saw you post that on your Instagram story, I think, and I was like, dude, I want to watch Rogue One really badly too. Like, I don't know why, like it's been constantly in my head because it's weird because like this year particularly has reminded me a lot of like I just get these like flashbacks, I guess, of like 2016, and that's when Rogue One came out.
Yep.
So, and it makes me think, I'm like, oh man, that was like such a great time for Star Wars fans, was around 2016. I feel like it was, after The Force Awakens had come out, we had this new, exciting, different movie, which ended up being fantastic, and it was like before a time where like fans were divided, and it feels like that again, which is great to say, because I feel like with The Mandalorian and with Fallen Order, like fans are so united again.
Oh yeah,
and it's just so great. Like I love that so much.
It's the best feeling. Like there's still there's still people out there and YouTubers out there who just want to downplay the success of Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't help their cause. There's been people ever since The Last Jedi who've just been trying to tear down Star Wars. And some of it's like, you know, honest criticism, and then some of it's like you're really stretching there.
I've seen some just silly, stupid
exactly.
stuff. I'm like,
and it's
what?
like the whole like, executives hate the Rise of Skywalker, like those people who spread those narratives. That's just really annoying. But there's some actual people out there, like I'll even use myself as an example, who's been pretty critical of Star Wars since The Last Jedi. And right now, I can't be happier with what's going on. I feel like things are kind of heading into the right direction right now. But we're going to get into our thoughts about The Mandalorian in a sec. I just want to remind everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the description of wherever you're listening. Also, subscribe to the podcast if you're on Apple Podcasts, or give us a follow if you are on Spotify. And then real quickly, I want to shout out our patrons, Jess and Joseph. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. And if you'd like to be a contributor to the show and help us out, you can find us at patreon.com/comicblast.
Indeed.
Yeah. Also, we're on Instagram and Twitter at comicblast_. With that being said, let's get into The Mandalorian. We didn't get a chance to review the second episode.
Yeah.
So we can quickly go over our thoughts, but I really want to get into the third episode if we can.
Yeah. So the second episode, like, I think we're just gonna. Are we gonna agree that we're just gonna talk about the spoilers? Like,
yeah, it's kind of out there right now.
Yeah. The episode 2 has been out for a week now, so I feel like, which I'm kind of glad we didn't dedicate a full episode to just or a full podcast episode to reviewing episode 2, because while I thought it was a great episode and I enjoyed it even more than the first, I also don't feel like there's a lot of substance to it. But as I've explained to other people, I'm like, it is kind of a filler episode, but it's good filler, not bad filler. And then there's a difference. And the reason it's, in my opinion, it's good filler is that it does build the universe and progresses the story in a meaningful way, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really do anything to progress the character of the Mandalorian per se, or anything like that. Like, it feels kind of like a serialized adventure episode where it's like it's like the Mandalorian's like, okay, he's got this baby now. He's got this baby Yoda. By the way, I want a baby Yoda so bad. It's the cutest thing ever. All right. Why can't real kids be that
Toys,
cute?
Toys are supposedly going to be launching, I think, next Friday. So they'll be
for
in
the baby
stores.
Yoda? Oh
for Baby Yoda. So it's no longer a spoiler, so they can start all of their merchandising and everything like that. As far as the episode goes, I completely 100% agree with you. It felt like a filler episode. There's two things that kind of stuck out and I thought were necessary things that needed to happen in this episode, or kind of just like helped progress the story a little bit, was showing that Baby Yoda does indeed have Force abilities.
Yes.
And then it does kind of establish that connection between the Mandalorian and Yoda when he saves his life. So those two things I felt like were pretty necessary, and were things that needed to happen to help set up what happened in episode 3.
For sure. Yeah. Because that throughout the entire episode, you can tell, like, the child, as they call it, is definitely, like, kind of has an attachment to the Mandalorian. And, like, it's so weird. Like, so I saw a post today, and it was like, it was comparing, like, the CGI lion from The Lion King, and it's like how the Mandalorian has more emotion underneath an emotionless helmet than than something with actual facial characteristics.
Right.
And it's like, that's so true though, because, dude, the physical portrayal of the Mandalorian is so good. Yeah. And I just remember, like, specifically in episode 2, like, there were times that I could totally tell that I'm like, this guy definitely cares about this kid.
Yeah.
Like, and like, even though he, like, from the get-go, he shoots IG-11 at the end of episode 1, and then throughout the entire thing, like, even though he's, like, putting this kid back and stuff, like, he's not, like, getting mad or, like, angry at him. He's just kind of like, he's like, no, stop that.
Yeah.
Stop. And it was funny, like, somebody made a fan art thing, and I don't know if I sent it to you, but one of my friends sent it to me, like, the day after episode 2 came out, and it's him holding Baby Yoda and has a gun, and he goes, I am not nice. And it's like, it's so true, though. Like, he's like this badass, but at the same time, he's protecting this little, just cute, innocent child, and it's so, which they just designed the Baby Yoda so perfectly. Like, it is the cutest thing of all time.
It blows my mind that they were able to kind of like keep that a secret, because something like that, especially with like, you look at Porgs, for example, they over marketed Porgs obviously to sell toys.
Hate Porgs.
Yeah. But they were like, look at these cute things, and I'm like, props to Lucasfilm or whoever was like, we're not showing this in any of the marketing or anything like that to sell toys. We're going to keep this a secret. Yeah.
Dude, the marketing for this show was so great because it got me so excited, but at the same time, like, I didn't know what was going on, or they didn't give away even the small things like that, which I guess, I mean, you know, I guess the child isn't necessarily a small thing for the show. Like, it's a very pivotal plot point of the show, which none of us saw coming.
Nope.
And we'll get into how, like, kind of this show subverted expectations in episode 3, because I think it definitely does that in episode 3 more than episode 2. I kind of want to talk about some of my favorite moments in episode 2, though. It's like, so Jawas are jerks, man. Like, like, dude, when he goes up and they take his ship, I was like, all right, that makes sense. They're Jawas. But then they're like, he's chasing after the sand crawler, and they're like, they are relentless. Like, they freaking And then I love the part, though, he's just up on the mountain and he is just disintegrating Jawas, and I'm like, I literally like was sitting there and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is so brutal.
So funny story, I was actually really excited to see the Jawas at first. And then after watching this episode, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sick of these things. So then I rewatched the second episode again. Yeah. And it was so much more pleasing to see him disintegrate, like, all of the. I was enjoying it so much. But yeah, dude, you're right.
I remember, so I played Jedi Academy, and in that game there was that's like a 2004, 2005-ish Star Wars game. And there's a couple of missions that involve Jawas. And I used to always be like, no, I can't kill the Jawas. They're nice, you know. They're nice and little cute. And then now I'm like, but there were times where I would play like dark side playthroughs and I would just kill everything. And I'm like, you know what? Even in the light side playthroughs, I just want to kill those guys now, because I'm like, what a bunch of jerks.
For sure.
And then I love when him and Nick Nolte's character, they're like bargaining, and he's like, and dude, he literally just pulls out the flamethrower and just tries to burn all of them. Like,
oh, I know.
It was just so funny. Like, he has no chill. He's so fed up with it. But and then the fight with the Mudhorn, like, it was beautiful. So we talked about in the first episode that you said the score, and I was like, it didn't really stand out to me too much. But then in episode 2, when the score that plays when he's fighting the Mudhorn, it's literally called the Mudhorn on the soundtrack. Yeah. Dude, so freaking good. Like, some of my favorite composing in any Star Wars medium. Like, Ludwig Göransson, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah. He kills it. It's so, and you were right. Like, it is very, like, it's synthy. This weird mix of, like, synth and tribal and kind of heroic, but kind of, like, dark and also epic. It's like, it's a blend of all of these different things.
It's
like,
the most different Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. But it feels so Star Wars, and that's what's so good. Like, it matches perfectly with the show's tone and genre, and I love that. And episode 3's score was amazing as well. So, yeah, I don't think there's much else to talk about episode 2.
Obviously, Yoda using the Force. Like, I loved that moment where he looks up. It's really cool. And, you know, the Mudhorn is just sort of suspended in air. Yeah. Which
it really does. The reason I say the game is because it it feels very much like a progression of a video game, like I said in the first episode, where it's like he's going on these quests, and then he gets the quest, and then he gets his reward, and then like all of this different stuff. Like I'm playing this, I'm like, or watching this, and I'm like, man, this feels like I mentioned on the first episode, very like Elder Scrolls or something like that, or even like Fallout or anything like that. And
it very much does.
And I love that though. And so, but one thing that I also have been really liking is how the Mandalorian is not like this just perfect hero, or not like he's, when it comes to a hero, I mean perfect hero, I mean like his fighting style. Yeah. Like he still gets kicked around, and I was talking about that with some people in some of my classes, because I recently did a short film which is finished, and I may post a link for it soon. It's got a lot of action scenes in it, and it turned out pretty good. I'll consider it. If you guys want to see it, maybe I'll post like a link or something, because it's currently unlisted right now. Cool. But we were talking about how we love fight scenes where like the hero still overcomes the challenges, but like at the same time they're not like not taking any hits or not getting any damage done, or not like doing it perfectly. Like we were watching some of the scenes from John Wick 3, for example, and like how, in those movies, like he still gets hit, he gets shot and all this stuff, but at the same time, like he's still like persevering and overcoming it. And that's what I loved about the Mandalorian, was when he's fighting this Mudhorn, or even the Jawas, like or even the Trandoshans in the beginning, like he's still getting hit by these enemies, but at the same time, like he still beats them,
Exactly.
And I just love that. Like I love seeing the heroes kind of get roughed up a bit. And I thought it was a really cool moment. Yeah, it feels like there's more stakes,
Exactly. Like John Wick is a good, very good comparison, because in John Wick, it seems like nearly every action scene that he's involved in, there comes a point where you're like, he's literally about to lose his fight, but he somehow like at the very end finds a way to, overcome whatever enemy he's facing. And that happens quite a bit actually to the Mandalorian, especially in episode 3.
Oh, especially in episode 3, but like in episode 2, I was like, this Mudhorn is about to kill this guy. I was, because like when he just like he's in the cave, and then next thing he just gets launched out, and like you see his chest piece just like totally bent and caved in. I was like, I can imagine how painful that would be, just getting hit by that thing. Also, the design for the Mudhorn was really cool. Like I loved the just. Overall, like it's like this woolly mammoth, but also like a rhinoceros thing. It's like, it feels like it's simple enough, but also feels Star Wars.
And it was amazingly done, like with the CGI. It was so good.
To be honest, like I kind of forgot it was CGI for some reason. I thought it was practical. I'm sure there's some scenes that were practical. Like I feel like the close-ups, possibly like some of the close-up scenes. Yeah, they probably built the head for it and like to make it more intense, but. And I love the way like when the child uses the Force on it, it like he's just standing there, like I think he's almost kind of ready to die, or ready to like he knows he's about to get hit again, but he may be able to take it out, and then the child like helps him out and saves him. So yeah, episode 2 is like a fun watch. But let's go ahead and get into episode 3. If you have anything else to talk about with episode 2.
No, episode 3, which we're recording on Saturday, so we saw it yesterday.
Yes, I saw it last night, and I was like dying, because I was like, oh my God, I'm at work. I want to go home, and I want to watch episode 3 so bad, because I'd heard like, I saw your tweets about it, and I saw some other people, and I saw like one like mild spoiler, which it wasn't a spoiler. It was like somebody who was related to Pre Vizsla from the Clone Wars is like in that episode, and so I was like, oh God, like I gotta get home. I know there's already gonna be spoilers out there and stuff, but episode 3, best episode yet. It's so freaking good.
Yeah.
So give me some of your thoughts.
Some of my thoughts. Okay. So obviously this episode kind of starts off with him fulfilling his duty and providing the bounty that he was supposed to get. Yeah. Obviously, it kind of starts off with them in space, and the whole little Baby Yoda grabbing the knob,
little ball on the
Yep. Yeah. I thought was freaking adorable. And then so they go to the planet. That child. Yeah. So they go to the planet. He gives the baby up, and then he gets his best car, his payment. But you can tell he was hesitant about it.
Yeah, like that's what I was about to mention. I love the moment where he was just like, he kind of tries to nonchalantly ask like, what are your plans with it? Like, what are you going to do with it? And you know from that moment, he's like, yeah, he's interested. If it was like Boba Fett or anybody else, he would have been like, all right, see ya, bye. Yep. But this guy's like, all right, like, but what's actually like going on here? Because, I mean, you know, even though he is a Mandalorian, like, it's the Empire that he's working with. Like, of course he's hesitant about it.
It's the Empire, and I think he can be a little bit empathetic with the child, because we find out earlier, I think in the first episode, that the Mandalorian himself is kind of like a foundling, which I'm assuming means that somebody found him and sort of like adopted him. And I feel like
that makes sense.
This baby is essentially like a foundling too.
He kind of sees some of himself in it.
Exactly. He feels some sort of responsibility to, you know, I don't know what his plans are with it, but, you know, to make sure that it doesn't fall into the hands of the Empire.
Yeah. So do you think from that, now that makes me speculate a little bit, do you think that the Mandalorian isn't a true-blooded Mandalorian, that he was adopted by someone in the Mandalorian warriors
I think
and,
so.
You know, was trained in their ways?
I think so, and I think that's why it's because throughout this episode, like he's very adamant, or through the season, really, he's really adamant about getting obviously the best car. He wants his armor. It feels like he's essentially trying to prove himself. Like he's very much obsessed with the Mandalorian way. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So like it seems like he's trying to prove that he is a Mandalorian to himself. That's just my prediction. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It could be a Mandalorian, but I think the theme is going to be.
I kind of get that too.
Yeah, the theme kind of along this show is like, you don't have to be like, you know, a true blood Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
If I remember correctly, in Legends at least, Jango Fett was not a true-blooded Mandalorian.
Right.
And so, but he was adopted into their ways, and then obviously he had Boba and stuff like that. So, you know, all of the clones are not, you know, they're not clone of a Mandalorian species, like someone from the planet Mandalore, but someone who was like a Mandalorian bounty hunter, part of that thing, which I think is really cool. I think that like I feel like they would want to do that specifically because well, you know, in real life there's the Mandalorian mercs, and like they're like obviously like the cosplay group, and I feel like they kind of want it to like for life to emulate art a little bit, and like, you know, not alienate a specific species or whatever, you know, and like make it like, all right, well, it's this whole like kind of all inclusive kind of family, you know, like these people are a family, but at the same time, like they're not by blood, it's by being like trained and growing up together and like bonding together as warriors and stuff, which I think is super cool. The moment in the, like, I love all the moments when he goes kind of into the hidden Mandalorian base or whatever. Yet again, feels very Elder Scrolls-esque to me. Like, it feels kind of like the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood, kind of like this hidden society, you know?
Yeah.
And it also it feels like he's leveling up, you know?
Exactly.
He's finished his quest and he goes back, he's like, level up, and he gets a new piece of gear. Like, playing Fallen Order, for example, I was like, wow, you know, that would be like getting a new force power in the game or something like that. But he hit the freaking mother load because, like, so when he gets his new armor, or like he gets, you know, the rest of his completed armor.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your thoughts are, which is kind of like a small moment, but like, yeah, what do you think about
the armor?
Yeah.
Well, I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he got all of that so soon in the series, but yeah, I thought it was amazing. I also thought it was so cool that he essentially just robbed the Empire. Like he got his payment and then he came back and just stole the baby.
Dude, it's like, I don't know why it feels so like video gamey to me. Maybe that's why I love it so much, but it's just like, it makes me think of just like in certain quests and stuff, like you'll get the reward and then like there's a quest in Skyrim that I remember where you can like, you choose one ending and you get a reward for it. You get like this ring, and if you go back and kill the guy, you can also get the other reward too. And it's just like, that's what it feels like, is just like, you know, he was just like, why not? Like, I'm gonna go back. I've got my reward. Screw these guys. You know?
He gets his reward. He gets his armor. Obviously, he he donates, I think, 2 pieces of the best car
for the foundlings.
Yeah, and then he's ready to get his next bounty. He's like straight to work, right away. Yeah, and that's when he gets on his ship and he reaches for that lever where the ball was.
Such a great moment, dude.
Yeah, and I didn't actually catch that until I had to rewatch the episode, and then I was like, oh wow, I'm like that's such a cool little moment, and that's when it kind of like he changes his mind. He's like, I have to go back for this child, and that's when the episode really starts to take off.
Oh, dude. Ooh. Yo, okay. Yeah.
Break it down.
So when he goes back to the compound and he's like, first of all, he's like scopes it out. He's like, all right, are these guys still here?
Yeah.
And when the way I thought it was going to be is he was going to get there and they were gone. Like they were going to have been gone. And he's like, all right, well, now I'm going to have to track these guys down and find this kid. But no, they're still there, and the client is like, I can no longer guarantee your safety, and I'm like, yeah, you definitely can. Mm-hmm. And so when he walks down and he like knocks on the door, the thing comes out and he just rips it off, and then I love how he's not like running or like he's not very like like urgent about it, like he's very just like calculated walking and just like kind of just playing the long game almost. He waits for those troopers to come out and he just ices those guys. Like he killed that was where I was like, oh, this is so sick. I was like, this feels like very Batman or like Deathstroke or something, of like somebody just kind of entering a compound and just taking out these guys. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Arrow, I guess.
Sure.
Where like there was times where he would like break into these compounds and he would just be like taking out these criminals or whatever. And like he's just going to this compound like killing stormtroopers left and right. And then the moment, so I think, is it before he finds the child, or is it after that he like burns a guy? Like he just
was my
lights
favorite part. He just incinerated the trooper.
He just freaking burned that dude alive. I was like, holy crap, they actually just did that. Which, I mean, they don't show his like burning flesh or whatever, but you can tell like his screams of agony are so visceral. I was just like, God,
before
okay.
the episode started, I saw in the top left-hand corner it said TV 14, and I was like, okay. I'm like, now we're getting an action episode, because the previous one said like TV PG.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this one said TV 14. And I was like, all right, this one's going to be good. And I was like, now I see why. I'm like, he's just burning guys.
Dude, yeah, it's so great. And then finally he finds the child, and like I love how that scientist guy, like I think he actually is kind of genuine. Like I don't think he's a bad guy. Because when we see in the first episode, he's like, no, do not kill that thing. Like he was like, but the client is a lot more just like, whatever, like I don't care. And I'm glad that I'm glad they refresh at the beginning of the episode, like when they have like the recaps, which I always like watching. Mm-hmm. Some people don't, but they say like it was a less bounty if it came back dead. Yeah. So I was like, okay, at least the Mandalorian had a good motive other than it just being like, oh, this thing's cute. So then when he gets the child, and I love how he's performing all of these like action scenes with the kid in his arm, like he's going through these like corridors and stuff, like dodging and flipping around with like and shooting guys, but still protecting this little kid, which I kind of forgot like how small it was, because I was like, man, that's like kind of small for a baby, but then I was like, oh wait, it's a Yoda baby, so it's naturally like going to be like a third of the size of like a regular baby. And then he gets in the room, and okay, first of all, the cinematography in this show is incredible. Mm-hmm. And when he gets that shot, and it's like the room that he kind of had the deal with in there, and he's like looking around, and then all the stormtroopers surround him. Cool details, by the way, is like some of the weapons that they use, they're not all using the same rifle. They're actually using some of the guns from like some of the blasters from Rogue One and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. There's a trooper, I think, when he enters the compound and like blows open the wall, there's a trooper holding one of the shore trooper rifles from Rogue One, which I thought was a neat detail, because I always love like the prop design and the costume design, and I also just love that continuity that they brought that back, which I always thought was a cool blaster. He gets in that room, and then all those troopers just surround him, and then immediately when that happens, I was like, No, he's gonna use those little whistling birds. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
whistling birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what are these things gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a freaking moment! He puts down that he's like, hold up. He's like, I have something very valuable here. Like, and he puts it down slowly and just kneels down, and you just see the whistling birds just slowly pop out.
Yep.
Like, it feels so Batman. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, it's like a very much like a Batman just kind of like pulling out, like running the
Batman
Batmobile
gadget.
or something.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then he just, boop, and then all of these things, 4 of them just shoot out. And like I just love the sound design of them. And then it's like this, and then just drops them dead.
Yep.
Oh man. So cool. And then he exits the compound and he's heading for his ship. And the moment where it flashes to the bar or whatever, and all of their transponders, like all of their beacons start activating, and they're like, and Grief Karga is just like, come on, man. He's like, why?
When that happened, I was like, this is John Wick 3.
It really is.
Because like John Wick has a bounty on him at that point, like in the third movie, and everybody is like getting the text on their phone.
Yeah.
About the bounty.
I didn't even think about that.
And then I was like, oh, this is so cool, because I love John Wick franchise, but
all of the bounty hunter designs. So when he gets into this thing, and it feels again very Western, it reminded me of the first episode when him and IG-11 are kind of surrounded by all these goons.
Yep.
All of these bounty hunters just on rooftops and around him and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, I have no earthly idea how this guy's gonna get out of this situation.
Yeah.
And they always do a great job of that, is like setting that up. And I like how it's not immediate that the Mandalorians come in to swoop in and save him. It's like he
takes out a lot by himself.
Yeah, he goes to the speeder, and then he's like ready, and then there's something that's like he looks at it, and I think he looks down at the kid or the child, or what does he do? Like, he looks at something, and then he immediately he's like, no, like, I can't give up, and then like kind of
he acted like he was going to give up.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was like, I kind of feel like he actually was going to, and then he was like, you know what, no, I can get out of this. Yeah. And there's a really cool moment, which I thought was, they kind of don't show very well, but like when he's on the edge of that speeder, he does like this really awesome like spin shot where he tumbles into the thing, and he does like a full like 360 spin and shoots a guy and then lands in the cart, and it was a really cool moment. I love like when he's like in these there was like the whole blaster turret cannon that they had in the first episode, where it was kind of like him on that, and now he's on this thing, and it feels like I said Western, where he's like, I'm imagining like in Red Dead Redemption or whatever, you're like on like a wagon like shooting guys as he's like getting pulled by it. And then I like how Grief Karga like shoots the robot and the droid, and God, I cannot, the robot. What what am I freaking like a Star Wars casual?
You're not a real Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah, it's a beep boop robot. And then he shoots it, and then I was like, all right, well, he's done. Which I like how they like all of the barrels are kind of like falling on top of him. I was like, is he actually okay? And then the coolest freaking moment of the entire episode, just all of these Mandalorians just on jetpacks just fly over the horizon and just all out war.
This is the thing, like, these are the things you read about or see in comics or have seen in like Clone Wars,
yeah.
These are the things that you never really imagined could happen in like live action, and then all of a sudden you're seeing it in live action. And I know, like, if you're anything like I was, like, I just had the biggest smile on my face watching
grinning
all of these
ear to ear the entire episode.
Yes, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, they're actually doing this right now.
Yeah, and oh man, like I think one thing that's really cool is that they're giving the Mandalorians all of these different, really unique designs. They're not making it like this cookie cutter, like everybody has the same Boba Fett helmet design and stuff like that. Like, they're all like slight variations of one another. And so what I was saying earlier is like that I kind of got like a character spoiled for me was that that guy that he gets in a fight with earlier in the episode about like him kind of, which I also think is a little bit of inspiration for the Mandalorian, for why he goes back for the kid, is because he feels bad that like he kind of sold out to the Empire a little bit. And I feel like even though he has an attachment, he also feels like he needs to prove himself, like you said. And so, but then that guy comes back in, and apparently, from what I've heard, he is a relative of Pre Vizsla from the Clone Wars. And if you actually can tell, he's voiced by Jon Favreau. He may even be played by Jon Favreau.
Kind of has the build.
Yeah, and so, and if you guys don't know, like, Jon Favreau voiced Pre Vizsla in the Clone Wars, which is why him and Dave Filoni became such good friends. I think they definitely did some modulation to kind of deepen his voice a bit, to make it different, because Jon Favreau's voice. I mean, Jon Favreau has played like 3 characters in Star Wars. But then again, a lot. He was in Solo. He's in Solo. He plays Rio.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. But yeah, like, dude, seeing all these guys on jetpacks, dude, the whole, like, him with the Gatling gun, I was like, oh, this is so sick. Like, it feels like when you're playing, like, why do I keep on saying video games, man? I don't know why, but it's like when everybody has, like, different classes, Yeah. There's, like, you've got the heavy, you've got the sniper, you've got the gunslinger, you've got the, like, the medic, all that stuff. It's like, it feels like that, which is really cool. And then the Mandalorian, he's just like, I love the way he runs. Like, I don't know, I feel like he has a very distinct, like, running pattern, especially, like, I think it's because of the armor, but, like, he just books it for his ship. He's like, all right, see you guys. And then when Grief Karga, like, sneaks on the ship, this moment was kind of anticlimactic for me, I feel like, the reason it was anticlimactic is because obviously he's not dead. Yeah. But when he's on the ship and he gets he turns around and he like has him at gunpoint, I was like, dude, just shoot the guy. I was at this point, like, do you even, like, he's killed all these guys, like, quit giving him a second chance. Right. Which almost kind of makes me think that, like, he doesn't actually hate him as much as or it doesn't really have as much against him, because I feel like he does really like the Mando. Like, I think he makes him a lot of money. Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm like, I think he's still hoping, like, oh, come on, like, I don't want to have to kill this guy, or like I don't want this guy as my enemy. Yeah. But then I feel like this didn't really make much sense to me, but he like pulls on a lever and like steam comes out, and then like I feel like the Mandalorian almost just kind of disappears for a second and then just reappears again, which I was just like, didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, it didn't feel as tangible or real to me, but maybe that's just me nitpicking.
He kind of he shoots like a grappling type hook out of his hand.
Yeah, which I don't like.
It's like a pipe, which causes the steam.
It felt very weird to me. Like, it felt like such a weird thing, like why did he use his grappling hook? Like, why didn't he just shoot the pipe? I don't know. It's just me nitpicking, I guess. But then
maybe it would explode. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. It's like, I have to rewatch the scene. I need to
kind
rewatch
of agree
all
with
of them.
you. I think it was like they're trying to figure out a way to give. They were trying to do the cliche, I'm going to shoot this person, but they're not really dead because they have something thick in their pocket. Yeah. And that's kind of like they were trying to figure out. It seems like they were trying to write themselves into that scenario somehow. Yeah. But I mean, it's a little anticlimactic, but yeah, I was still on the high from what I just saw, that I didn't really care so much. Yeah, it's not like that pivotal of a moment. You're just like, okay, he's after him, which that's what I've been talking about. Is like, this show is subverting expectations. Is that like, I did not expect this to be the plot of The Mandalorian at all. Not at all. I was like, no, this is definitely going to be a more personal story. There's not going to be anything about this baby Yoda, like, but this is like a totally different story. And I'm also like just surprised, like, first of all, that Grief Karga is kind of being an antagonist, which I was like, wasn't seeing that coming. And also, Gina Carano's character still has not popped up. That definitely surprises me.
I'm like, I thought she was definitely going to be like episode 1, like we were going to see her, and I was like, all right, well, episode 2, nope. Episode 3, nope.
I'm like, we're running out of episodes here.
I'm like, you have 5 episodes, and it makes me feel bad because I'm just like, well, dang, I'm like, is she ever going to get him? But I feel like at the same time, like, she's going to be kind of
when she comes, I feel like everyone's going to love her.
I think so. Yeah. I never noticed this, but I was looking at her Pop Funko, and like she has a rebel tattoo underneath her left eye, like a very small. Like at first I thought it was like a freckle.
Yeah.
Because and then I realized I'm like, no, it's a rebel insignia right under her left eye. It's very small. But then the Mandalorian gets his escape, and Grief Karga obviously is alive because he still has the best scar like underneath his jacket.
Yep.
Which is where coincidentally like the Mandalorian shot him. Why he didn't just shoot him again in the head, I don't know. But like whatever.
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe they had just like some sort of mutual respect.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I feel like the Mandalorian was like, you know, he had two contradicting codes, and he had to choose which one was more important to him.
Yeah.
And he chose the Mandalorians, not the bounty hunters, which I feel like is a nice contradiction to someone like Boba Fett, who is notorious for being like, he's not like he's got the Mandalorian armor, but like he's really in it for himself, not for some greater like group, you know. Like he's if it was Boba Fett, if this was a Boba Fett show, there is no way he would have gone back for that kid. He would have gotten that armor, and he would have gotten him out with those Twi'lek healing baths or whatever.
Yeah.
He'd have been like, heck yeah, man. Like, he's that guy.
Yep.
And the Mandalorian's not, which I love. I like that they're making this a very unique character, and I'm glad this is not a Boba Fett show because, like, I think this character is going to excel way further than Boba Fett ever did.
Definitely.
And then he's flying away, and you just see the guy just jetpack and like salute him. And I just love the moment. He's just like, I gotta get one of those.
Yeah, he's kind of like the way he was flying. Kind of reminded me of Iron Man.
Yeah, it reminded me of Buzz Lightyear. I don't know why.
Falling in style.
I mean, it makes sense that it would be like Iron Man though, because I mean, Jon Favreau, the
Yeah.
Iron Man.
It definitely looked like it to me, but
Yeah, and then he gives the ball back to
was
the child.
awesome.
I was like, "Aw,
like
he's so cute."
And that, like, what I like now is like we have no idea what's gonna happen next.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Yeah, we're like, what planet are they gonna go to? Like, we have no idea.
They leave you guessing. I feel like at the end of every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like, well, with episode 1, like I was like, oh crap, okay, I don't know what's gonna go here. Then episode 2, I felt was more like, all right, well, now he can get off this planet and return this bounty.
Yeah.
At the end after the end of this episode, like events happen so fast, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. Where I felt like this was definitely gonna be stuff that was built up more over time. But we still have like so much stuff that we haven't seen yet.
Yep.
And like I'm pretty sure the Mandalorian has like a wife or something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what's up with that? We've got Gina Carano's character of Cara Dune, Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Still hasn't shown
What's up with that? Which I think he's definitely still going to be an antagonist.
Yeah.
I think he maybe he's in connected to the client, mayhaps. I don't
Probably.
know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to see the Mandalorian go up against some Death Troopers.
I know. 5 more episodes. I think from here on out, the episodes are supposed to be longer than the first 3.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I heard that all of the first 3 episodes were like similar in length, and I think they're supposed to get longer. So
Okay.
I'm
Fingers crossed they
very,
get up to
very
50
hopeful.
minutes.
Yeah,
hope
like
so.
please give me like an hour-long episode.
I cannot get enough of this show.
No.
Like I was like thinking, I was like, man, this show's really gonna compete for like my favorite show of all time, isn't it?
It's getting me through the week. Every week I'm like looking forward to Friday. The way that the show is structured though, doesn't it kind of like the way it's structured kind of reminds me of like Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, it does.
Even just the way that it ends with the end credits and everything. Real quickly though, we should get into like we should definitely give some props to Deborah Chow. Because
yes,
she did a phenomenal job on this episode. Obviously, it's the best episode.
So good.
And I think like a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Obi-Wan series. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I mentioned or you mentioned that, we would be, I think we both mentioned we would be paying pretty close attention to her episode of The Mandalorian because it would say a lot about, her as a director for Obi-Wan. And I feel so confident right now in her abilities to deliver a good show.
Yeah, I mean, before this, like there wasn't much that she had done other than like the heavy hitters being like Jessica Jones. But now I'm like, I cannot wait to see what she does with the 6 episodes that she has of Obi-Wan. we'll see what the budget is and stuff. But I'm like only imagining. I'm like, imagine an Obi-Wan episode of like that scale of episode 3 of Mandalorian, like being that epic or that awesome. It's gonna be really cool to see. She did a fantastic job. And the second episode was directed by Rick Fuamayo or something like that. Yeah. Which he did a great job too. I think so far none of the episodes have like let me down.
Yeah, we got Bryce Dallas Howard is next for episode 4.
I'm intrigued by hers because she hasn't really directed anything.
Yeah.
So clearly I feel like they hired these directors with intentional purpose. And I think that goes along with, them trying to find directors that fit more properly with, their vision and stuff like that. And this show feels very cohesive. And I think that's definitely a testament to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Exactly. Cohesive is the right word, but each episode in a sense has their own like personality, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like it definitely feels like a separate chapter. But it's still like cohesive. The story is still, all part of one person's sort of like mastermind plan.
Yeah.
So
I love one thing that I remember is like when episode 3 opened, I was just like, I was curious what the title was, because the first episode was it The Bounty? Or it was The Something. The second episode was The Child. The third episode was called The Sin. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, okay.
Getting deep here.
I think that's pretty much it for episode 3.
It's so good. Honestly, I think I gave the first episode like a 9 out of 10. For me, the second episode is probably like a 7 out of 10. This one's like a 10 out of 10 because I just enjoyed it that much.
For me, the first is like an 8.5, second is like an 8.5, and this one is like a 9.5 for me. That's like fair. It's just so good. I mean, I've loved all of them immensely, but this one just blew the doors wide open.
Exactly. It showed really what was possible from this show.
Yeah.
Like we knew it was good, but we didn't expect it to be that epic. We had no idea if it would be that epic, and it definitely delivered. But like you said, that's pretty much it for our discussion on The Mandalorian, and we'd of course love to hear from you guys and what you thought. I think it's been overwhelmingly positive from all sides of the fan base, which is really cool.
The Mandalorian is bringing back Star Wars fans together.
Exactly. It's very, very good time to be alive. We should get into real quick if we can. We should get into Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, we're not going to go into spoilers with it, so it'll just be kind of our general thoughts on the game, because I haven't beat the game, but you have, so. Yeah.
Wow.
So, go ahead and get into it.
I was just thinking about it just now, because you told me you were at, like, a certain section in the game, and then I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, my God, you have so much left.
Really?
Yeah, because there's, like, I don't know, like, you're more experienced at video games than I am, especially probably combat games like that, like melee games. There's like a boss fight in this game that took me like 2 hours to complete. I got so frustrated with it, and I was actually like, I follow Star Wars Theory on YouTube, and he was streaming the game, and he was trying to face that same boss. He plays quite a bit of games, and I think I watched him for about 3.5 hours over and over try to defeat that same boss. And I was like dying laughing because he was getting frustrated, and I'm just like, dude, I'm like, I feel you. I'm like, I completely understand. But yeah, the game, non-spoilers. What do we want to get into the gameplay first?
Yeah.
It's tough not to spoil this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you really can't talk. But yeah, the gameplay I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah.
It's very much reminds me of Dark Souls or Sekiro, which were games that are very hard. Sekiro especially. Dark Souls, I think, definitely prepped me for this game, because it's very like you have to kind of take your time with it and stuff.
Yes.
And there's so many times when I get into these boss fights like that, I remember I'm like, I have to play this like an actual Jedi. I can't play this like I can't play this like I'm just trying to button mash or whatever. Like this isn't the Force Unleashed. This is like, and I literally like there will be times where like I'll get hit once,
and then I'm like, I gotta start over.
And I'm like, or I want. It's not that I have to start over, but I'm like, breathe. I'm like, just breathe, and I'm like, just calm down. I'm like, defense is the Jedi way, not attack. So I'm like, wait for an opening, and they'll attack, and then I'm like, all right, now's my time to strike, to regain my balance, to counter on them stuff. And then sometimes I'll get cocky again, and I'm like, nope, stop, don't get cocky.
Yeah.
And man, yeah. So I really enjoy the combat. I've gotten really good at like parrying and stuff like that, and just using my abilities, which is really fun.
Yeah.
This game feels like a very, very much a blend of like Dark Souls and Uncharted with a Star Wars skin, which is really cool. Like it's a very unique game, more unique than any game I've ever played, in that like it just has so many different components from so many different games that blend very well.
Mm-hmm.
I love the world and the discoveries and stuff like it. I love that it's not open world. It's not like, Red Dead Redemption or The Witcher or Elder Scrolls or anything like that. Like it has its own unique kind of explorative methods, which people have compared to like Metroidvania, where it's like, kind of going back to these areas that you couldn't reach before when you have new powers. So I've gone back to like several planets multiple times when I've got unlocked new powers to get stuff, which has been very much in my favor, because after I got past a certain point in the game very early on, I went back to the first planet and got something that was very, very helpful. And if I didn't go back to that planet, I wouldn't have gotten it until much later in the game. And so that was really nice. And then, I really enjoy the gameplay. And I also like that it's a good blend of fighting, like the Empire and then the creatures on the planets and like and other bad guys and stuff. Like it's a nice blend,
When I started the game, this is like a first for me. I didn't play any Dark Souls or anything like that, so I'm used to like more just smashing buttons. Even like, I can't even compare this game to Spider-Man. I used to think like Spider-Man was like a little bit more strategic, and now I'm just like, God, Spider-Man was a breeze compared to this game, because this is like every move is calculated. You cannot just go, if you have two enemies, you cannot, even one enemy sometimes, you cannot just go in there and just start, hitting the attack button. So, I start the game, and immediately I'm like, over and over getting killed by like these rat creatures coming up from the ground. And I'm just like, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, do I suck that much that I cannot defeat these things? And I started to learn that, parry is your best friend. And learning when to use your abilities and stuff were very important. So it took me a while to like just learn the game. And as I got probably at the halfway point of the game, I started to like understand how I needed to play it. And then the boss fights got a little bit easier for me. But there are times during the boss fights where I knew at what point I needed to be at. Like I knew how much health I needed to have in order to beat bosses at a certain point, if that makes sense. So like if I'm like halfway, if I have the opponent about halfway down its health, and I only have like one stem pack left, I'm like, I might as well restart right now, because there's no way I'm gonna beat it. So there's a lot of frustration, especially with the boss fights. There's one in particular which I found, there's one probably about the halfway point of the game, or maybe 3/4 of the way through the game, that I found was harder than the actual ending of the game. But
have I reached it yet, or is that?
I don't think you've reached it yet.
Okay.
Because I think there's a planet you need to go to first. But non-spoilers, I thought the story was amazing, and I actually like really fell in love with the character of Cal. At first I was kind of like annoyed by him. I was like, I don't know if I like this character. By the end of it, I was like, this character really grew. And that's all a part of like, they really kind of they really embraced George Lucas's idea of the hero's journey with this game.
Yeah.
Where the character obviously isn't that strong. I mean, he starts off as, you know, he was a Padawan on the run, basically.
Yeah. He's lost a lot of his powers.
Yeah, he never completed his training. He had to relearn a lot of his training because he hasn't, you know, been practicing it and stuff like that. So
yeah,
they really embrace the hero's journey, and it's we see a lot of the familiar themes of Star Wars. You know, learning to deal with failure and
there's a moment in the game where somebody says like you keep on failing, good. Like that's
exactly.
That's how you're gonna learn. And I'm like that's such a Jedi thing, you know? That like failure is your greatest success, and I just love that. I'm like, man, that's like I remember that when I get on a boss fight that sucks.
I hope you'll probably I know you'll beat it faster than I did. Because once I completed that boss, it made me so much better at the game for the rest of the way. I think that's why the final boss was a little bit easier for me, because the experience really helped me.
See, the problem is I know one of the boss fights that's it got spoiled for me on a YouTube thing.
That sucks.
So I think I told you about that, but yeah, but I mean I kind of expected it, so I won't say what it is. But yeah,
the ending is just it's perfect. I'll say that.
Really? Okay.
I was so happy and so pleased at what happened. It got spoiled for you, but for me it wasn't spoiled, and I was so excited about what happened that I just immediately I went on YouTube and I was searching up other people's reactions to what happens, and I was just kind of living through them, their first experience playing through it, because it's really cool, and Respawn just did a great job, especially with the story, because you could really the story could be a flop, the gameplay could be awesome, but the fact that they really cared about story. Actually, we watched a documentary they have on YouTube right now about the making of the game.
Yeah. I have a bunch of bonus content because I got the deluxe edition, and it's in the game or whatever. Then I'm that I'll really want to look at. But all of this stuff is has spoilers for Jedi Fallen Order. I'm like, can't look at this until I'm
spoilers. Yeah, I think that's what I ended up watching on YouTube was just the compilation of the clips that you probably got. But yeah, you can tell that they really cared about making a good Star Wars story first.
Yeah. And
then they focused on gameplay later. But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. I thoroughly enjoyed the game.
Yeah, so far it's my favorite game of the year. And it really sucks that it's not nominated for Game of the Year because it didn't reach or at least for the Game Awards, because it didn't reach a certain they end the cutoff date at a certain point, and because it's so close, they can't exactly put that within the the year. But the thing is that also doesn't qualify for next year either. So it's
oh, what a ripoff.
Yeah, so I'm it doesn't count or whatever, and I'm it's just really dumb. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so much, and it's games like this that I'm finally I don't feel I'm forcing myself to play this game. I'm actually genuinely hooked and excited. Because I remember I started it. The reason I didn't start it the day it came out, and probably why I am more behind than others, is because I was already in the middle of playing another game that I promised I'd play with a friend, and we beat that on this past Sunday. And so then we beat it, and it was by the way, that game's probably my second favorite game of the year. It was Gears 5. Great game. And it had two various endings, so we played through the different endings and stuff, and then I was I sat there and beat it, and I was well, time to go play Jedi Fallen Order, and he's have fun. and so I left the party, and I played for 2 hours that night, and I immediately I woke up and I went to the gym and went to church and everything like that, and I was dude, I just want to be home playing Fallen Order right now. I genuinely almost was
you're just mad.
I was I want to skip church so bad and just not go work out. I want to just sleep in, and I want to go play Fallen Order and all of this stuff. But yeah, I will say this: I have been to all of the planets in the game. I went to I think I've been to all of the planets. No, probably not, actually. I've been to the first 4 planets in the game, but I went to, like, I mean, Dathomir's not a spoiler. It's, like, it was in a thing, but, like,
okay.
I went there, like, very early on in the game, and, like, just freaking got my butt handed to me. Like, I didn't go there early. Like, I went there maybe, like, a little bit after one of the other planets.
Yeah.
And so I had an arsenal of stuff, but I still was like, God, okay.
I did a lot of running in that planet when I first started. I was just sprinting past everything.
See, I'm too stubborn where I'm like, I am someone who, and I was like this in Dark Souls, where I'm like, I have to kill it all. If they respawn, they got to kill them again. Like, there's
I can't do that. After I've died multiple times trying to kill everybody, I'm like, I am not doing this again. And I'm just like, the frustrating part was like trying to learn the map and the planets, because there's times where I'm just like, I just got to sprint back to the ship. I'm like, I do not have time to go through this all over again.
Dathomir is terrifying because you're whatever, you're like, I gotta get back to the ship. I gotta get back to the ship.
I got spiders like shooting poison at me everywhere, and this giant troll looking thing is chasing me, and I can hear like the ground is shaking.
Just hear it shaking. You're just like,
I love how, where can I go? Yes.
I'm like, yep, yeah, that place was terrifying, and but they do such a great job. And I was talking to one of my friends, and he said he really hopes that there's like a DLC for the game. I haven't beat this, and like where you get to play as her, and I'd be like, I'd be down with it. It'd be pretty cool.
That's interesting.
But I thought it'd be really cool if there was like a Quinlan Voss from the comic that, like, the second comic one, or the second Darth Vader comic, the second comic ever. Darth Vader comic.
Yeah.
Was one of them, and he was like one of the guys that survived in Legends, and he was a very fan favorite character. He's kind of like this, like, dude bro kind of guy. At least they portray him like that in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They become like a couple and everything like that. So, I don't know. I would love to just see more stuff for this game. And man, this just proves that EA can just microtransactions and be like, listen, you don't have to have that stuff to have a good game. Like,
and that frustrates me too, because after playing the game, I felt like I was really frustrated with EA after playing this game, because I felt like they undermarketed this game.
Yes, there was a whole theory
out there.
There was a EA was purposely undermarketing this game so that it would make less sales, and then they would be like, well, listen, transactions, and that would be their justifiable cause. I'm really curious what the sales are for this game, and like down the difficulty, like, enjoy this game. For me, like, I'm too stubborn and I want to play on Jedi Master, but that's also because I have a lot of, like, I was looking at the thing and I was like, it was like, this is for challenge, like a more challenging experience for players. And I'm like, I've played Sekiro, I've played Dark Souls, like I've gone through immense anger and pain playing the Dark Souls games. Like, there was one boss that I probably fought like 70 times. Like,
that was me with this game.
So here's hoping I'll do better than Keenan.
You definitely will, trust me, because there were times where I'd have to take a break because I was getting so frustrated, and I'd be like, I'd put my controller down, I'd leave my PlayStation on, but I'd be like, I'm just gonna go get some coffee, come back, feel refreshed, and then an hour later I'd have to do it all over again because I'm just so frustrated with the game.
I'm just gonna go watch Mandalorian and look at
that. I did do that. I actually did do that. Yes, because like I started getting so frustrated with it, but at the same time, like you, I'm kind of like really competitive and stubborn about things.
Yeah.
And
I'm proud of you that you played on Master.
Yeah, once you do beat it, it's so rewarding. Like
you're like, and that's the appeal of these difficult games. Is like,
Yeah.
More gamers need to play Dark Souls and stuff because you just don't get it until like people just you don't realize how easy it is in some of these games until you play a game on like those.
There's a boss that you said you beat after your third time. That boss I spent probably an hour and a half on.
Are you serious, man?
Dead serious, because like I said, this is my first time playing a game like this.
Yeah.
And and I made the mistake of kind of flying through the story a little bit too fast.
You went really quick.
Yeah.
I saw the tweet and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So like I didn't have a lot of abilities unlocked yet. I didn't have enough skill points. So
my skill tree's almost maxed out.
Exactly. Like mine, like I was probably a third of the way through my skill tree when I got to that point where you're at.
Oof.
So that's my bad, because I just wanted to get through the story so quickly before it got spoiled for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like as soon as I beat that boss, dude, like I was talking crap to my TV, like I hadn't spent 3 hours trying to beat that. Like it's just insane. But
the hardest boss was actually, like, for me, wasn't even it's an optional boss. It's not even like a main boss fight, and it was on the very first planet in the game. It's like it's not a big spot. It's called Ogdo Bogdo, and it's like
my gosh,
that
freaking creature that kills you in like one hit.
Yeah. That guy, literally, like, I killed him I got killed by him so many times until I figured out there's a hole above him that if you jump down and you press X, you can take out like half of his health.
It's like a stealth attack.
Yeah. But
there was a meme going, like when the game released, that creature became a meme because everyone was dying from it.
I think that's like the hardest for me has been the hardest enemy in the game.
Well, there's a part, I'm not sure if you got to it. I don't want to spoil anything, but have you gotten to any point in the game where it reminds you of Thor Ragnarok?
Yes.
Okay.
Favorite moment in the game.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't you face that creature again in that part? Or was there just one that was like that creature?
It's just the Bogdo. It's not the Ogdo.
Oh,
Bogdo
okay,
or whatever.
okay. Yeah.
Like, it's just because the smaller ones are like on the planet.
Gotcha.
There's a part if you go back to Bogano, which is the first planet in the game. It's just kind of like the starter planet or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a part where if you go back when you have certain powers unlocked and you get to a certain point, because I've fully 100% that planet, gotten all the chests, all the collectibles, everything there. There's a part where you fight 3 of them at once.
Oh dear God. Okay,
I beat them.
I haven't gotten to that.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, but when you get certain abilities and stuff, like, dude, slow is your best friend. Like, you slow and go up and attack some of them from behind. Mm-hmm. Some of the Purge troopers have been really hard for me. I think the hardest Purge troopers for me are the guys with the batons. Yeah. They have 2 batons. Those guys are relentless. They will literally attack you 5 times in a row.
Just wait. Just wait.
Oh God. I'm not ready, man. I'm not ready.
Yeah, you need to get on it.
Well, I'm still exploring a couple of planets, and then I'm gonna head on to Dathomir.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'll say that. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. I actually had a lot of fun talking Star Wars. I didn't realize how far we were into the episode.
Yeah, before this, you were like, I don't expect this to be a very long episode.
Yeah,
and then
it's like one of our longer ones so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're posting videos regularly over there. Rate, review, subscribe.
Yeah, check out Keenan's new video. Drill. Yeah, check out his new video. He did a great job. It's his comeback video, and he did an awesome job editing it. You did a great job with it. And,
thanks.
And I have some more videos on the back burner that I need to kind of re-edit a little bit, adjust some of the audio and stuff, and put out there for you guys as well. But yeah, check out our social medias as always. comicblast_. You can find our personal social media in the bios or descriptions of those. Obviously our Patreon. Once again, shout out to our Patreon or patrons that support us. We appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, I think you said everything else.
Yes, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for listening. May the Force be with you.